got absolutely mollywopped by Asian baby boys in the previous season. So now, let's see how Ipsilos can fare against them. We're already seeing the Aurelia ban here. Aurelia incredibly strong as a top laner. You don't want to deal with the fact that she's really safe in terms of trying to engage, because she has a lot of damage, a lot of resistances, lots of self mitigation, damage mitigation, and the fact of the matter is a lot of sustain, considering the fact that you have the passive, which is basically, I'd like to call, stacks of outplay. The moment she starts
Yeah.
glowing, he starts right clicking you, you've been outplayed.
Yep. That's what I want to see from an early. But now, with this, I hope Ipsilos did their homework. Because there's a lot of champions that you need to ban against Asian baby boys. Like what I'm saying, it's Kieran. If you don't ban the Anivia, that might be a possibility that they're gonna pick it up later on. Because Synthid, yes, it also goes for the Karma and Galio, but if this Anivia gets picked off on the side of Asian baby boys, it could be pretty destructive. So yeah, as I'm saying, they needed to ban that Anivia even at the last, but that leaves Ego with the Camille. It's also a comfort pick for Ego.
Camille incredibly strong in this patch, even with all the nerfs. Lots of downtime on her adaptive shield. It doesn't really matter, considering the fact that you're more focused on the fact that she deals a lot of damage on her Q. She puts a lot of pressure in the form of the Hextech Ultimatum, locking down whatever target you so choose. That's already a big bad thing for you. And of course, I prefer Winter locking in the Aphelios for their bot lane here means that they want to play around. They want to play
Ooh,
around this.
yeah,
They're
definitely.
probably gonna raise the puppy here if they're gonna put that Braum in there.
Yeah, if they want to go for this, yep, the Braum comes in. They want to be able to defend out this ADC. I mean, Rubiker has been performing really well. Rubiker has picked really unique picks on bot lane. He went in for a Jinx last week, and even a Misfortune. I mean, a Misfortune has been meta for a while now, but we don't really see it that much on the AcadArena and CO. But Rubiker goes for it every time. So with this said, that could be a chance for Rubiker to step up during this game.
This might be a Xayah Rakan if they're gonna go for the Xayah here, considering the great synergy of their kits to begin with. Like the quickness is a really good disengage to begin with. You have a lot of good shields. You can
There
immediately
you
put a
go.
lot of free damage. Also, the moment Xayah pops her W, this is gonna be that was an easy prediction immediately after, considering the synergy to begin with. But let's see what Ipsilos responds with this. They already have a Camille, they already have a Rakan. We might see something that could facilitate a dive, or we
Mhm.
might see something that's a little more standard front to back. I'm not entirely sure, but Kennen is a power pick that I'd like to see.
Oh wow, getting a cannon against Ego, at least that would help you out early in the game. But with this, that stops all the pushes coming in from Asian baby boys. They have the Rakan, yes, they have the Camille that could go in, but with the cannon, they might think twice before they go in because they're gonna get CC locked by the glacial pressure and the concussive blows from their side. So they have a lot of CC already on the side of Ipsilos. So what do they need more? They need more damage in order to tie
Mhm.
this knot on their team composition.
And definitely, it seems like there's still a lot on the table. They do still have a jungler available for them. They still have a mid laner available for them. We might be seeing the resurgence of Graves? Question mark. Depending on whoever is more comfortable with it, we might be seeing a resurg. We might even see a Talon. Bruiser Talon has been making its rounds around solo queue,
Yep.
getting the Gore Drinker. You're basically a Rek'Sai on steroids. You would want getting all these off angles, getting these off angle ganks. Really good stuff for that. But that being said, that depends on their comfort here. The bans on the Jarvan and the Silas means that they don't want to get dived on as soon as possible. And this
Oh,
Orianna ban also means that Asian Baby Boys wants to go for something that doesn't get punished whenever they dive in a little too haphazardly.
they need to ban the Galio if they want to win against Ipsilos because it's on the side of Ipsilos every time. They ban the Silas for a reason. They want to go with a really big ultimate if they want to. That could be a Twisted Fate. That could be a Galio. That could help out the team. At least, as you said, they're going to baby this Aphelios for sure. And they want someone to help them out with the ganks or at least stop the pushes from Asian Baby Boys from happening. But with that said, also, Karma is also out. Both of these mid laners uses this Karma and could be a potential pick also.
Actually, I was thinking about the Karma too, and whether or not they were going to lock it in, but instead we
Oh,
see the
okay.
Volley Bear. Big
Okay.
question mark here, but then
Question mark.
Volibear is always Volibear is kind of outdated in a sense,
Mhm.
considering there are far stronger picks in the jungle nowadays. But of course, as per usual, you do have some tower diving potential. You do have a great point and click stun, and let's not forget, lots of inherent tankiness considering that it is Volibear.
Yeah, and with that,
No.
so they went in for the Trundle just because they saw the Volibear getting picked up. So, yep, good reaction pick on the side of Asian Baby Boys. And they might get punished on the side of Ipsilas just because of this, because the fighting power of this Volibear will just dwindle down just because of this Trundle pick. And the last pick, I mean, Asian Baby Boys could get anything that they want right now. Possibility of a Karma because they have enough damage. They have the Saya, they have the Camille. So yep, they're gonna go down with the Karma, and that just ties the knot for this team composition. Really good comp for Asian Baby Boys.
Let's see what they're gonna go with here in the mid lane here for Ipsilos, because considering the fact that I'm still not. Oh my god, so many power picks have gone through here. You're
Really?
seeing the Zaya Rakan, you're seeing the Trundle on the side of Asia Baby Boys, but Ipsilos has their hands on a Kennen and a Philios and the
Oh,
Kiana. Kiana's such a
really?
reliable. Well, granted, Kiana dies from a gust of wind.
They
You
might go
sneeze on
jungle.
her, she dies, right?
Yep.
She's basically made of styrofoam. But that being said, if you're a capable
Might go
mid
for a
laner,
jungle.
yeah, oh, no,
Okay.
oh no,
Oh, I
that
thought
was
it was a
scary.
jungle.
But yeah, if you're a capable mid laner, and of course these guys are capable mid laners, that Kiana is a massive threat to whoever like looks in her direction. Like
Yep.
Sen would absolutely destroy anyone who gets caught out in any bad situation, because Kiana just deals a million damage in
Yes.
single milliseconds.
Yeah. And with the combo coming in from the Kiana, this turned out to be interesting. Ipsilos didn't pull out this composition back in the quarterfinals, and now in the semifinals, all cards have been dealt, and they go with their comfort picks. And I'm liking the the sheer confidence that they have here, that they go in for a Kiana pick, honestly, against a team like Asian Baby Boy. So all cards are set. Let's just do what we can against them, and we might win. Because for sure, against a Karma, it could be easy for a Kiana to shut them down.
It is. It really is. And especially now it's just gonna be big for Ipsilos. As you said, confidence, right? Confidence is what they need to face off against the champion. You gotta proceed, you gotta go in there, make eye contact, shake their hands, lick your lips even to intimidate them, you know? They're just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just
They-
intimidate them as much as possible with your sheer confidence. And that's what we're probably going to see here with Ipsilos. The Volibear is a little questionable because of the Trundle pick, but then again, this could still be worked out simply because of the sheer amount of damage they have with the Aphelios and the Kiana. There could they could easily turn this around for themselves. But Asian Baby Boys has such a strong has a strong solid like comp altogether. And we're probably gonna see a lot of like if Ipsilos doesn't play as crazily as I thought they would, Asian Baby Boys could easily run them over. But because you mentioned confidence,
Mhm.
if that made me realize if Ipsilos plays this with absolute confidence, with absolute sheer unadulterated insanity, they could they could easily they could run over a weak spot they could find. Maybe Leo Mark
Mhm.
and Usagi get a little too cocky. They could easily exploit that. If Ego's Camille isn't doesn't stay relevant for the next 10 minutes, they could easily take through that. Or they could prevent Kiaran from getting any presence or itemization whatsoever to make those shields weaker, to make that Q weaker, like make him irrelevant in the
Yeah.
first 10 to 20 minutes. They could go for that. There's so many ways for Ipsilos to try to exploit, but let's see what they're gonna do with this, because I'm so excited with that Kiana. Kiana in this patch is insanity personified. You'd usually see her in the jungle nowadays,
Yep.
because of like there's been assassin jungles, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean she's not flexible. She's absolutely flexible. You could see her, and as we are seeing now, she's right here in the mid.
Yeah, especially against mages, Kiana's capability just skyrockets, and that's why I love seeing a Kiana right here. And I would like to point out the composition of Ipsilos is engage slash disengage. They can go for a disengage just with Kennen using the slicing maelstrom. They could go for this disengage just with Kiana's ultimate display of talent that they can use every time. And that's what I love about this. They also have the glacial fissure on top of it. So if they don't want to take the fights, if it's a bit awkward, they're gonna be. they're not gonna take it. They're just gonna use this ultimate to get away. And what Asian baby boys wants is to go for fights. They have the shielding from the karma that could help them go for more fights, that could speed them up when they want to. But Ipsilos's composition is geared to counter that, which is why I'm
Mhm.
kind of worried on what Asian baby boys are gonna do here.
Like let's see as they're gonna go there because right now it is gonna this is the most equal playing field that we're possibly gonna see because we don't know what Ipsilos can do and we don't know how Asian baby boys can deal with Ipsilos. They already know how Ipsilos plays
Mhm.
against Viridis Arctis, but Viridis Arctis is not Asian baby boys, so there might be a few adjustments here for Ipsilos because the thing is their identity won't be established this much yet. And of course, that being said, let's see who is gonna let's see whose fans can give more energy here for
Yeah.
both of them. Because right now, both teams need your energy, guys.
Yeah, and also shout out to our partners at Logitech G. If you're looking to supercharge your gaming setup, you can hashtag keep playing. Check out Logitech's amazing gaming gear at logitech.acadarena.com. Also, get the chance to participate in AcadArena's major tournaments, win bragging rights and exciting prizes from our partner brands. Visit app.acadarena.com. Go through the registration process and you're good to go. And also, the National Campus Open wouldn't be a thing without our amazing sponsors and partners. UAC 2021 is sponsored by Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor, and Logitech G, our official gaming gear partner. But going back to the game, as you said, young Rafiki, it's gonna be really tricky because Ipsilos has this well-rounded composition to disengage, but the Volibear is really question. I'm kind of finding ways to put Volibear into the composition that could. It's not really awkward, but I can't find ways because he's gonna go in, right? But most of
Mhm.
the people on the side of Ipsilos is just gonna go out, go for the disengage if they can. They're gonna if they are gonna be on the driver's seat, that could be possible. But if they're on the losing side, Ipsilos might have a hard time though.
Yep, absolutely. As you said, Volibear, no think, only forward, just all day, every day. That's not something you wanna. That's not something you want to see with something that has really good disengage. But that being said, right now Ipsilos has such a big chance to play around that because they could also possibly do some pickoffs. They could possibly catch somebody out with the Volibear and Kiana combo. Lots and lots of roots and stuns. Point and click stun is always a welcome thing. If Volibear and Braum are together, moving together around the jungle, they can also catch whoever with their pants down. Those are the small things that you could that we're gonna try to factor in here. But of course,
Oh,
Kieran
yeah.
might be in trouble.
Yeah, Scene T just trying to do some damage. There's a stun coming in from Rian, but no, the Rian is just gonna back away from this. No fights are gonna happen because they aren't gonna go for a hook shot. They aren't gonna go for a pillar at first, but Relevance might be on confusing waters, and now that is gonna be a flash getting used. Relevances 5 minutes before you go into that next gank, so that's good from Ipsilos.
Really good from Ipsilos there. As you said, you can't start pillar. You're a jungle trundle. No
Yeah.
way in hell are you gonna do that. You're gonna need the worst leash in the world to get something relevant out of it. That's why relevances gets a little miffed by the fact that he has no flash, but that's gonna change anytime soon. He can choose to just power farm and wait for the next flash timing, but that also means he is absolutely unsafe right here in his own jungle. So if Ipsilos right now chooses to get the priority they want, Rian can easily walk up early on in the early game
Yeah.
with this Volibear.
Yeah, and that is, I think, what PUP Ipsilos wants with this composition. I just saw that if you go for early games, Rian always has the advantage against them, but relevances, if it gets to level 6, possibility of a turnaround right there. So the viability of this Volibear would go down after that. So now, what they want to do on the side of Ipsilos is just to get the pressure onto Karen in the mid lane, because you know that's what the Kiana do. Snowball the mid lane, go for ganks into other lanes, and if you go for that, at least use that advantage in your favor and do more damage on the team fights that are coming in.
Yep, definitely. And now, and it seems like they're looking for these options. But of course, Karma versus Assassins is a little tricky for the Assassins because most of the time, you're not gonna deal as much damage with because of well-timed shields, and moving a little too forward would mean Karma can get a free root, can get free Q off. Either he can heal himself or deal more damage as Kiaran can be. But of course, that means that this Kiana is gonna get pushed in for the first 3 or 4 levels. We're probably gonna see something different in the next 5, but so far it is gonna be Kiaran's lane.
Yeah, I was expecting them to get an advantage on level 2, but as I was saying, they're gonna go for the bot lane already. They might have the filler, no, they just have the slow, they have the speed up, and that is gonna be the chance for Whip to fall down, and that is the first blood coming in. Relevances takes it down. What a good gank from the side of Asian Baby Boys.
And that's 2 flashes burnt and an entire exhaust being taken away here. Oh wait, no, a heal and a flash, I mean, being burnt here. Aside from an exhaust being burnt away here for the bot lane for Ipsilos. And Asian Baby Boys is gonna take advantage of that all throughout. They're probably gonna get repeat ganks here in bot lane. We're probably gonna see Leomark and Usagi try to facilitate that, try to force that from happening. Unless, of course, they're gonna have to play safe. If Ipsilos plays a little safer, then that gank won't happen. But there will be ways. If you're a good player, you can force them to come to you.
Yeah, I was about to point it out that Leomark and Usagi should have the advantage on the Rakan and Saya lane. But the top lane, they're going for fights right here. Sinteed and Rian are trying their best to get a react gank on the top lane. But Relevances and Karen was just there lying in wait for them.
Yep, it doesn't matter for him right now. Even without the flash, he did get a good gank, but oh.
Yeah, I think Karen just tries to hold him out. And he just knows that Relevances is there. That's why he's going in for that really, really aggressive hold there.
And from the looks of it, I prefer Winter is having such a hard time against Ego, getting pushed in, even with a range advantage here. He is getting pushed in and having a hard time last hitting under tower because of how oppressive Camille can possibly be if you're not being too careful.
Yep, honestly, the Cannon pick would have been good if it was for example, a Nar on the top side. But if it's a Camille, it's possible for Camille to fight against the Cannon just because Camille has the shielding. Camille also has the sustain. But here you go, there comes the grand entrance onto the bot side. But they are just going to be backing away, gaining the advantage more and more in the bot lane. So I think Ipsilos needs to be wary of the combo from Usagi and Leomark. This couple's duo are really good in the early game. The damage that they can do, especially with the enhanced jump from Usagi, would just help them out pretty easily.
Definitely, and let's see what they're gonna do. Like, it seems like Leomark and Usagi are really keeping their own distance. They're getting pushed in simply because of the Infernum here from Rubiker. But aside from that, they're also trying to make space for another gank, considering there is no flash on this Braum. So they really want to get that as soon as possible. They want to get these repeat kills, because the more kills they get in this bot lane, the less likely this Aphelios can take over and go online. So they're really trying to take advantage of that. But Kiara now trying to move around, putting some defensive wards and possibly wards by the river. Are we gonna see a repeat gank from here?
Yep, this is what I like about both of these junglers. They have a lot of early game pressure and they can take the Drake if they want to. That's why I love having a Trundle and Holy Bear onto the game, because they can just contest that whenever they want. They have seen, they have an info on where they are. So Ipsilos needs to be wary. They're taking the Ocean Drake. I think Relevances was able to see that. But right now, they don't have the power. They don't have the stats to fight against them. So they're just going to back away.
Yep, making eye contact, but they didn't have the priority. This is what happens, even though you want to let that gank happen, because of the fact that there was priority, Ipsilos gets it for free, simply because of the map presence and how hard the bot lane was being pushed in. But now, this is going to be a different story, as we're going to see Ipsilos's mid lane here, just getting more and more items. That serrated Dirk is already gonna pay off so much this early.
Yeah, you know, this rated Dirk would help him out early in the game. We all know that the components of the lethality items are so good that this Kiana could leverage that in his favor. And Sinteed, with the threat is set. So on the next objective, for sure, they're going to be fighting again against Asian Baby Boys. They know the threat of the Kiana. That's why they're not letting Sinteed snowball.
Yep, and Sinteed keeping it kosher for now. So is I Prefer Winner, by the way. Even though there is like a massive deficit in not massive deficit, I mean a slight deficit in CS, he's keeping himself relevant, keeping the difference to only 1 to 2 CS, but he is getting pushed in, which means possibly Relevances can exploit top lane in his favor with the way he's moving. but that's gonna be set in the future as Rift Herald is about to get up, and let's see if PUP, if Ipsilos can decide to strike, can try to push in their entire solo lanes together into this Rift Herald so they can get priority.
Yeah, they're finding their way to get that priority right here. So with this, I mean, it's really hard, honestly. As you said a while ago, you're on Rafiki, mid lane, it's not easy to fight against a Karma when you're an assassin, just because Karma can just out-sustain. She has a shield, she has the healing from the W, and man, oh man, it's not what you want as an assassin. What you want as an assassin is to fight it out with low HP members. But with this, Rep Herald might be taken. Usagi is also here, so Whip is not here to help him out, but there you go, the ultimate display of talent. Relevances would go in, and now the flashes are happening, and Relevances has been ignited and probably gonna fall down. Ipsilos takes that kill against that Rift Herald. That's good trades on the side of Ipsilos.
A fair trade, and it does go to the Volibear, who can ramp up much faster with a single kill, giving him plated steel caps, giving himself possibly something like a Bomby Cinder later on. But aside from that, the Rift Herald will potentially be a bigger investment in the future, simply because of the fact that you could get possible platings, because this is the first Rift Herald after all. But now it seems like Ipsilos does have a bot lane that's constantly pushing in. Leo Mark is left alone because of the fact that Usagi decided to roam, which means Ipsilos just taking advantage of that as much as possible.
Yeah, they might be able to go for a gank, but they don't have any flashes. I mean, Usagi has, but they didn't risk it because they know Lubriger and Whiff could just flash away if they went in for that gank. So Asian Baby Boys trying their best to get something, but Ipsilos, they have some vision on that side.
Rubiker doesn't have a heal anymore though, so this is gonna be something that they're gonna keep track of. Once Usagi hits level 6, the quickness is something that you don't want to underestimate. It is gonna be a free engage even against the Braum, simply because of the nature of Rakan. He can easily outmobilize Braum, outmove Braum. But then again, Braum now has the Glacial Fissure, a good way to disengage, even if there is a quickness on top of you, even if there's a charm on top of you, I mean. And let's see what they're going to move towards here, because there is a Trundle waiting at the side.
Oh yeah, the Trundle wants to go in for this fight in the bot lane. They know the heal is down, and the Grand Entrance comes in, and with the quickness, that just helps out. The teleports are coming in, so they're backing away from the park. Leo Mart is here. The exhaust has been used, but there you go, the Blade Collar was used in order to stop them from pushing through with the gank. We all know the flash is still up. The slicing Maelstrom might be a possibility, but Rian is here waiting in mid lane. The ultimate display of talent. Oh no, Karen! You're gonna fall down right here, but the heals are so good that Karen was still able to survive against this fight.
The Mantra W, and oh my goodness, the balls on this man just going straight.
Goes in with the Hectic Ultimatum on the backline. Rian might be the next target, and he's gonna fall down. Possibility for them to go in. Slicing Maelstrom is up. They know they're tanking, but they aren't really gonna commit onto that. I prefer Winter. So now Asian Baby Boys get some kills of their own.
And just like that, a really good call there from Kiaran, going for the re-engage, knowing that he did have his teammates at the side. Really good map awareness from himself, and he did know that they didn't have anything else against him at that point. Really good stuff here from Asian Baby Boys. Just the awareness of your own team, like the way they're so close together, they're tightly knit, that they're basically synergistic to one another.
Man, especially with Garen just picking up this Karma, they really need to stick together just to amp up the possibility of disengage if they want to. That's why this Karma is here. They want to go in, but with the Mantra Shield, that helps them out to get away, and that helps them out to go in for more fights if they can. So they are really just waiting for Ipsilos to slip. If Ipsilos slips, they go in for the fight. So now with this Cloud Drake, it's actually a good Drake, honestly, if you think about it. With more slicing Maelstrom onto your side, and even the ultimate display of talent on Synthid, Ipsilos could go for more fights if they want to.
Definitely, and it does seem like it's going to be great for them if the Mountain Drake is also available for them afterwards. Let's not forget that this is a Volibear that they have. If they get Mountain Soul, that's going to be the tankiest guy you'll ever know in the history of mankind. So let's just hope that that won't happen. But then again, Mountain Drake on the enemy is also beneficial for a Trundle.
Oh, honestly, yeah. If they get the Mountain Drake, the Trundle would just get beefier when he uses the ultimate. Oh, that's really good. So I think Relevances would just give them out this out later. But look at this, the sheer patience of Rian onto the bot lane. They really want to just give Rubiker the advantage that he needs. They really are on Asian Baby Boys' side. They know when to time it right. If they don't have vision on any side, they won't go in for any fights. So
Mhm.
Ipsilos needs to take note of that because before they go in for ganks, they just need an objective because for sure Asian Baby Boys won't go for a really cheeky play, an aggressive play against Ipsilos.
Yep, definitely. And of course, let's not forget Scented right now does have a Prowler's Claw. This might be a sign for him to start moving around the map, start getting himself relevant, start giving his teammates relevance with really, really strong pickoffs. But hold that thought.
Yeah, now with that fight on the bot lane, the Blazer Fisher has been used. Rubiker is going to go back away, but the pillar was just so good. Whiff is now the next target. They can go for a gank here. The Grand Andress would be able to hit, and Whiff would just fall down. And that is a 2-0 again. Asian Baby Boys, if they have vision, they're going to go for it.
Always, all the time. Their awareness of like how people move around the map is immaculate. They're just so good at reading people. They're so good at syncing themselves together and timing all of this just to make these plays happen every single time. As you mentioned, they just look at the wards, they look at the vision, they look at the map, and they give themselves as much chances as possible to make things happen. And this is what's great about the Asian Baby Boys. They make your dreams come true. Real dreamy boys.
I'm waiting for them to release their album, honestly, Young Rafik. I'll buy the album from Asian Baby Boys if ever they release one. So now, back to the game. Karen is also a really, I mean, Karen and Relevances are just all around whenever a fight happens. And that is what I like about Asian Baby Boys. It's just, as you said, the sheer awareness of both of this. It's the reason why both of their top laners and bot lane, they're having a good time just because these two are just roaming around, giving them kills, feeding them, and if they get fed, at least they have insurance in the late game.
Absolutely. And it seems like Rift Herald is going to be the next objective for both of these teams. They are putting their wards down. They are making sure that they are trying to deny vision, but it seems like there's there's way too many wards around by the river there. That's a little questionable there. Susus Amagus, if I may, but that being said, it is going to be the Rift Herald here.
Oh yeah, they're gonna go for a fight on the Rip Herald, and now they're gonna go in with a Lightning Maelstrom. Won't be able to hit. Oh, so much of the backline has been breached, and now the chance for Ego to wreak havoc against them. What was that flash? That was good for their side, and now Relevances is just doing so much damage. Ego is on the backline, would be trying to get Rian, but now Relevances is also here. Kieran is just giving so much shields for both of these beefy boys, and they're just chasing them down like madmen, and now everyone is falling down. I prefer Winter's next. CT would try to get something, but now, wow, Kieran is just so tanky, even though that is a karma Relevances has known. Here comes the pillar, here comes the slow, but now Rip Herald is going to be their target.
That looked like it could have possibly been the fight that Ipsilos was looking for. Lots of AoE was being unleashed on the right targets, and even seemed to even got a really good pickoff. But in the end, Kiaran was so good at keeping his entire team alive for just the right time. And every single time, it seems like Asian Baby Boys synchronization is just way too good. The Asian Baby Boys looked like Asian Beefy Boys with how well how do I describe it? With how well tanky they were because of Kiaran's enabling.
Yeah, and with Kieran just using all those shields during that fight, I was thinking that it was on the side of Ipsilos during the first part of the fights because bot lane already fell down with the start of the fight. Bot lane fell down really fast, but with Kieran just shielding this beefy boys on their side, it just helped them out. It just gave them so much it gave them so much sustain that they were able to chunk down everyone who was really weak at that point. If they just went in for that all-you-can-eat buffet, and now they might go for Sinti just for them to get an unofficial ace. Relevances is going for the Sinti. Oh no, you can't go anywhere. And that is the Rift Herald being taken by Asian Baby Boys with some kills on their side.
At that point, Sintid had no choice but to chase, considering that Ego was already all the way deep in there. But yeah, that was unfortunate for him. That being said, Asian Baby Boys looks like they're going to run away with this game with all the momentum they had. And let's not forget, There's also another reason why this Trundle was surviving for so long is because of the fact that he's Trundle. Once you get that Divine Sunderer, you get a lot of heals. Once you do have self-sustain when the Sheen proc of the Divine Sunderer happens. But aside from that, you also get you're also Trundle who heals from the deaths around him. The maximum HP of all those things keep piling back up to you, and you keep stealing stats. You steal AD, you steal resistances. Do you really think this man's gonna die in like 5 seconds? No, it's gonna last a million years before this troll is ever gonna die.
Yeah, this troll is just so beefy, and with the Mountain Drake helping him out, man, that's gonna be more beefy of a troll. So now Ipsilos needs to find a way to win those fights. As we said a while ago, if ever Ipsilos goes in first with the fights, they don't have a lot of ways to stick. They don't have the sticking power against Asian Baby Boys. And Asian Baby Boys wants to go in for those long drag-in fights. That's why they were able to win during that last fight. So Ipsilos needs to go for picks. If they pick one, get away, or if someone on the side of Asian Baby Boys goes super aggressive, pop the Slicing Maelstrom, just let them die, just let them shower onto that lightning that the cannon would give.
Definitely, and they might be they were looking for a pick right there. They did seem like they wanted to go against Ego there, but it seemed like they realized he's a little too fed. Let's hold on for a little bit. He can sustain with his Divine Sunderer. He can hold on to he can avoid as much damage as possible with Hextech Ultimatum. So they chose not to go through with it because it would have spelled disaster. There was a possibility it would have spelled disaster even with a 2v1 situation.
I'm really afraid of Ego at this point in the game because look at that. A 3-0 on a Camille, and we're slowly transitioning to the late game. That's just hard to deal with the Divine Sunderer that just gives it so much damage. So now, with a 5k gold lead on the side of Asian Baby Boys, they're just going to leverage this. So with the next objective coming in, which is the Baron, I think they're not going to go for it. What they want to do is just use this advantage, take more towers, let PUP Ipsilos crumble down to the pressure, and that's how they play. That's basically the Asian Baby Boys playstyle.
Just get the stranglehold that they want. Just give them as much things to worry about as possible. Give them as much information against their own mental. And it seems like Asian Baby Boys is in the driver's seat. They have everything geared up. Seat belts are on. All the safety's there, and all they need now is to keep that dominance here. They're probably gonna put some wards around the red side, top side jungle here of Ipsilos here. Red side jungle of Ipsilos, I mean. Probably gonna put some wards, put some vision. They are gonna get aggressive as much as possible, considering the fact that Baron is almost up. 30 more seconds, Baron's almost up. It's available to them, and they're probably gonna push these lanes sooner or later while they don't have any TPs.
Oh, I would just like to point out. So if ever you really love picking assassins, if you don't have a lot of targets to go for, that just takes off your possibility as an assassin most of the time. And that's the reason why Sinti is not getting a lot of kills here, because most of the people on the side of Asian Baby Boys are really beefy. As young Rafiki said, most of them are really beefy, and Leomar is not even a good target also, just because the Feather Storm is always up before they go in for a fight. So this is gonna be hard for PUP Ipsilos. Before they go in for a fight, Sinti is gonna wait, and that just dwindles down the damage that Ipsilos will bring.
The only target you have is Usagi, and Usagi is also dangerous to touch simply because of the quickness. The moment you touch Usagi, he's just gonna pop R, and it's an instant charm.
Yep.
You don't want to deal with that at all. And of course, Kiaran also is there to save the day. Tainted is not straight up not having a good time here, and we're seeing Asian Baby Boys just slowly dismantling Ipsilos here with the way they're moving around the jungle, rotating. Push, rotate, clear waves, rotate. Put wards, rotate.
Yeah.
So good.
And they're just waiting for Ipsilos to slip. Whoever steps onto the wrong grass, the wrong neighborhood, it could be a chance for them to fight back. But no, Relevances is on the wrong neighborhood right now, but he's really tanky. Would that be enough to actually kill him? What was that pillar? Was enough to save his life, slowing everyone down, and now it's that chance for them to fight back. The turnaround comes in, Slicing Maelstrom has been used, but there's a lot of shield. Look at that sustain from the ultimate display of talent onto the back line. What was that Centene? This is his time to shine. It's his time to come back. But there you go. He's trying his way to get more. Here comes the concussive blows. Whip is there. Centene is chasing down. Kiaran is gonna flash away. And now the side of PUP Ipsilos, they got what they needed, and they're gonna take some towers with.
Asian baby boys biting off more than they could chew. After that pillar, they knew that they had a good fight coming out, considering the quickness, considering the knockups and everything. But the Kiana was unseen, and Kiaran and everyone else in the back line was left touched forever. My goodness.
What was that? That is Sing T just making use of the supreme display of talent during that last part of the fight. And man, that was so good for Sing T. And now with that, at least we can see some breathing room for the side of Ipsilos onto this next objective. I mean, Asian Baby Boy still has the advantage, but Ipsilos, they're showing signs of life here.
Ipsilos looking like they want to take this dragon, but instead they choose to go for the blue. I think they're gonna give this next Mountain Drake cap to Asian Baby Boys at this point, simply because of the fact that they have all the space in the world. Third and fourth, you'll really have to fight for that, because you don't want to have a tanky Trundle stare you down and steal your stats. You don't want to see Kiaran survive even longer, even though that's just a support enchanting everyone. And you don't want to see Camille, aside from dodging a lot of damage with the Hextech Ultimatum, just survive whatever you throw at her. So Ipsilos should be moving towards the next dragon with more zeal than this one. But that being said, Baron is available for both teams. Let's see if they're gonna move towards that. They can put some wards around. It is equalized back to 0 again, considering how the last fight went. Whatever momentum Asian Baby Boys had has been cut off by Ipsilos, and the playing field has been put back to 0.
Now they're pressured on the side of DLSU Asian Baby Boys. A while ago, we're seeing Asian Baby Boys just putting wards on the side of Ipsilos, but now they can't do that because they know that they can lose on this fight. As long as Rian is still viable, he still can do some damage. They can go for fights. They're just waiting for Rian to dwindle down before they go in for this next one. But now, with this, Rubiker is on the second item, and it's really scary to fight against an Athelios at this point. But they just need to wait out, because right now, Rubiker doesn't have good guns. So if they pull the trigger right now, they wouldn't have so much damage on the side of Ipsilos. But now Ego is going in for a fight on the last side. They have the Hextech Ultimatum slash Slicing Maelstrom is also up. Ego is just dealing so much damage. I prefer Winter doesn't have the damage. And now he's gonna fall down. That is just Ego showing his advantage. He is still the alpha in the top lane.
And it seems like Ego has TP, so they are gonna move towards Baron here. They are gonna force Ipsilos to try to fight this, but instead they're choosing to give Ego more space, give him more space to push. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah, they're going in for the pillar, and that is a good grand entrance of the two members, and now Rian is also taking out one down, and that is the next target coming into their side, unstoppable right there, but still, Ego is going to be able to take that down. Double kill on the side of Ipsilos, and this is going to be the Baron on the side of DLSU Asian Baby. They don't have the smite, so this is a possibility for them.
That was exactly what Asian Baby Boys tried to do in the last fight, but this time it went right this time simply because of the fact they knew where the Kiana was. They were moving away from the walls, and that pillar is so well placed. Every time there's a blade caller, they just eat every single bit of damage, and this goes to show the synergy between all their teammates here.
Yeah, that was a really scary one right there. The pillar just stopped everyone from going onto one side, and they just need to travel more time. And with that slow, that's just destructive as a CC. I mean, we don't think of this slow as a super big CC, but with the pillars, the way that Relevances is using it, it's basically a hard CC against Ipsilos right now.
Yep, the small knockup combined with the slow is kind of negligible at this point simply because of the nerfs. But the fact of the matter is that is extra terrain that you have to go through. And oh my goodness, Whiff might be in trouble here.
Oh no, Whiff is on dangerous waters, so they need to be careful onto the next one, because 1 minute 30 seconds is the next objective, and I think Asian Baby Boys is looking for it. They have the Baron on their side, so they might be able to push onto mid. And with a lot of resources on the side of Ipsilos just being put onto the mid lane, it's a chance for Asian Baby Boys to push out to other lanes before they go on for this next Mountain Drake. That is a possibility still for Asian Baby Boys. They need to contest this, man. You said it. If they don't contest this, that just makes Relevances more relevant as a tank.
Mm-hmm. Let's not forget, Ego's already building up a few resistances with that Sterex too. If you give him more, ooh.
Yeah, this is gonna be crazy because Relevances is just going in. The damage, even though that it's a tank, Relevances is just doing so much for the team. And with that down, the mid lane is open, and now they have the space that they need to go in for this next objective.
Definitely giving themselves a lot of opportunities. 40 seconds left on Dragon means they're probably just gonna put some wards instead, reset for Dragon instead, and that they already have a billion deep wards here against Ipsilos's blue side jungle. Of course, Sinted with the awareness, clearing everything out as soon as possible, because you don't want to be caught with your pants down, especially against the champions that are Asian Baby Boys. Asian Baby Boys right now looking for an opportunity to do Dragon, but I think they're gonna go for a pick off first.
Oh man, that was scary. Sinti was really walking really closely. Usagi not hitting the grand entrance is not going to help Asian Baby Boys to go in for this fight. This could be a chance for Ipsilos to turn around, because right now the quickness is down. Nobody could go for a grand entrance, but Usagi still has the flash, so it's still a possibility. So that is why Ipsilos is still waiting for the chance to pass back. Now they are on the better position. That is going to be a pincer attack on the side of Asian Baby Boys, but Ipsilos, they can go for this anytime that they want. The ultimate wouldn't be able to hit, and Asian Baby Boys, oh no, they know it's their chance to fight back. They have a lot of ultimates. They have the Hextech ultimatum onto Ego, and I prefer Winter is waiting for the chance to go for a slicing best. That is so much damage. That is a slow coming in, but still, Relevances is just being really crazy. That won't be able to hit anyone. Slicing best on the backline. Usagi already fell down, but Leomark is still here, wreaking havoc onto the backline. Ego is now the target, but now it's a chance for them to go front and back on the side of Asian Baby Boys. Gonna fall down one by one, but now it's gonna be Relevances first. Scared is gonna chase them down one by one. Sinti is gonna be the target. I prefer Winter. You don't have CC, guys, so Relevances is just gonna chase you down, and you're gonna fall down. And Asian Baby Boys would now again take this Mountain Drake with a lot of kills in their bag.
That was amazing awareness from Asian Baby Boys. The moment they saw the Aphelios ult go down, they decided, you know what, the fight is gonna break out no matter what. And look at how well they clean up. Even when Ego is trying to disengage, he's disengaging with purpose. He's disengaging to distract the rest of Ipsilos. And while Relevances keeps himself relevant, constantly whacking with that gigantic club of his.
Yeah.
And right now he's absolutely gigantic. Have you ever seen a 9-foot troll? He's 9'1".
Oh no, man, that is definitely scary. If I see a 9-1 troll on the streets, I'm definitely gonna be running away. And with the pillar that he's posting out, that is really scary. But with that now, 1 minute 40 seconds on to this next objective. That is just saying Asian Baby Boys has the pressure all around the map just because they have more towers down. And with the Mountain Drake, you saw that, everyone. You saw that. That is relevant to sustaining during the fight just because he has a lot of resistances.
It's absolutely free for him, and it seems like Relevances is just getting tankier by the minute every single time. And with that third Mountain Drake, it just means that he's much harder to kill. It's at this point practically impossible to kill unless you gang up on him, all 5 of you. He's practically a raid boss at this point. Relevances, even with the Trundle nerfs, he keeps it relevant as much as possible. And with Karen at his side, you're practically seeing a double boss here. The support of the boss and the raid boss itself. So your entire party needs to pull in as much as they can.
I really want to point this out, man. But before I point it out, we're going in for a death rush here. But I think Ipsilos was able to smell it out. So what I would like to point out is I read something in the comments. So they said Relevances is mas makunat pa sa chicharon na pinabayaang bukas. So, I can see that. I can see that, everyone. So we saw him really sustain. He's really, as you said nga, sobrang kunat nga ni Relevances during that fight. So yes, he's that strong. I mean, that's the late game, especially with the ultimate coupled with that. That is just makunat na chicharon, as you said.
Oh my goodness! Shout out to the comment section. Y'all are great. But yeah, holy moly, this is looking like Asian Baby Boys is just slowly taking their fingers around the throats of Ipsilos and tightening it as much as they go. but it seems like they're gonna keep it as kosher as possible, keep it standard. They're gonna get that Baron, and then they're gonna start going for an objective. Probably work towards a pickoff. And we talked about window of relevance here. The volley bear has become completely irrelevant.
Yep. And now Rian can't do anything. He could just go in, just become the meat shield that the team needs during the fights. But Relevances, man, he's still that good. Just because he can keep Rian out of the equation, just with that one ultimate, he's out of the equation already. And Eco on the bot lane, look at the sheer damage that he can deal. Half HP with just one combo against I Prefer Winter. I'll be scared if I was I Prefer Winter defending in the bot lane. They need to put another man in the bot lane if they want that defended, because Ego is just posing a big threat on that side of the map.
That was chunky like a chocolate chip cookie. My goodness, I can't believe that was from a single Q from Ego. This is not what you want to see when you're a Kennen. I know he's trying to keep himself kosher. He's trying to outrange him, but a single hook shot into the Q, already dealing that much. I don't think he can defend that alone. But because of the threat of the Baron here, forcing Rian to pop the ult, that's even worse here. That means Asian Baby Boys can get this for absolutely free of charge, nothing out there. If you have a membership card, it's probably the bonus that you get.
Yeah, definitely. So he has the flash anyway, so he might be able to use that later on. NKHP onto this Baron. It's ticking down really fast. Even though that Leo Mark has been fed, it's not ticking as fast as I thought it would be, because Ego is just getting the pressure, but the backline right there, the Supreme Display of Talent might come in. But here comes the steal! That is Rian for you, everybody. And now Isagi is gonna fall down. The slicing maelstrom is just dealing so much damage on the backline. But now Rubiker is here with a lot of shurikens on his side. Ego needs to back away. The hook shot would miss. And that is the chance for them to fight back. Carrying Leo Mark is still up and alive, but Rubiker is gonna fall down. Leo Mark goes for the aggressive. Rian falls down, and with a triple kill, Asian Baby Boys takes that down. Even though they lost the Baron, they got the game instead.
40-second death timers. I think this is game. They have their AD carry up. They have their top lane up. Ego and Leo Mark can easily melt this tower. This is it. This is it. That's it. Come on, man. Let's just go at it. They're choosing to go for a safer route, trying to clear 2 inhibitors, but I think they could easily pull in as much damage in time here, trying to end the game as soon as possible. But that being said, I thought that spelled doom for Asian Baby Boys, because Ego was too busy trying to deal with Seamted. For 5 whole seconds, Seamted was juking and dodging every single attack that Ego threw before he could go back to the fight. But Leomark was so aware of where he was, how much damage he could deal, and how far he can skirt the line with how Kiaran has been supporting him so far. And a single Mantra Q turned it all around, and they now have 2 inhibs, an entire Dragon Soul, no Baron, but it doesn't matter.
Oh no, the Mountain Soul has been unleashed on the side of Asian Baby Boys, and now that just makes them more, as you said nga, as unat na nga sila ngayon on the side of Asian Baby Boys with the Mountain Soul. They can take more fights if they want to. So Ipsilos, this is probably, they need a miracle if they want to win this. Because during that last fight, we saw also na the Supreme Display of Talent, hindi siya nakakuha ng marami. That was I Prefer Winter, just zoning them out with the Slicing Maelstrom. That's why it was so good. But with Ego being a threat against Syntid, man, he was able to shut down the assassin, the star player of Ipsilos, and now it's a chance for Asian Baby Boys to go in for this. They need to rake in. Their investments are now really high. You now know that the prices are now up, but now Ego goes in with a Hextech ultimatum against Rubiker. He's gonna fall down with just 1 precision protocol, and now you don't have any damage anymore on the side of Ipsilos, and that's how Asian Baby Boy says it's game and it's ours, and we're gonna end this one down.
Definitely, and there's no terrain nearby for the display of talent here. So that means they could easily just go straight at these Nexus turrets, go straight at this Nexus. And this is game. No matter how hard Ipsilos is going to fight for it.
The last fight coming in with the Slicing Maelstrom onto the backline, but not enough to no avail. Won't be able to get any kill. The Pedestal is going to be abused, and still so much Asian Baby Boys are just winning this fight pretty easily. Leomark is just going to go on a rampage during that fight. Look at that, Kiaran with a perfect score also, winning that game for Asian Baby Boys.
An Asian Baby Boys showing their dominance, showing why they were the Metro champion. showing to the world why they could easily beat every single what do you call this person that has been in the previous season. Asian Baby Boys did not show any form of weakness there. Maybe a single show of overexcitement, but aside from that, they played it so cleanly that it just went through with no hitches for neither one of them. None of them had any hitches whatsoever. And my goodness, relevance with that Trundle. This is why Trundle's a must ban because of how many things he can steal. Stats, lives, even games. 9-1, 9-1, 9-2, it doesn't matter. That relevance was just too tanky, too much to deal with. And the rest of Asian Baby Boys, was deathless, Ego was dealing so much damage, and nobody was in the good business of trying to deal with him. Especially Kieran, who with the karma, as you said, it's his signature champion. There's a
Yeah.
reason why they give him that. It's
Yeah.
Asian Baby Boys is showing the dominance that they had since last season.
Yeah, it's so good on the side. So they need to, on the side of Ipsilos, they need to ban this karma for sure. Sure, they could give the Anivia. No, 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 no. They couldn't give the Anivia to Karen for sure. If they give the Anivia to Karen, that's just the same thing. That's what Karma did during that game. He was just zoning out with just a single Manta Q, as you said. He turns down fights. But with an Anivia, that could be better because he has a terrain with him. If coupled with a Trundle on their side, that could just spell doom to the side of Ipsila. So on the meta of the junglers right now, Trundle is so good just because everyone is after dashing in with a Viego, with a Shinzao. If they go in after the pillar comes in, they can't go out. And that's the reason why this Trundle is so good. Especially that last pick was a Volibear. Trundle was just so good of a pick for them.
It really, like, the moment that they showed Volibear, Trundle was easily enough like the choice of the century. Especially, let's not forget the fact that Trundle is also a really good flex pick. So they could have flexed him all the way to support, flexed him all the way to top. Well, they did show their support afterwards. So yeah, flex him all the way to the top. Doesn't matter because that was already really well done here from Asian Baby Boys. And that being said, having Ego on the Camille, he was keeping himself as much of a map threat as everyone else, constantly
Mhm.
split pushing, constantly looking for these angles for the Hextech ultimatum, getting the right pickoffs, enabling his team to get to the right targets as soon as possible. Look how, like, even then Ego was always a backline threat, and Ipsilos had no way to deal with any of Asian Baby Boys.
Yeah, they can't even do anything during that last seconds of the game. Because honestly, with Ego being that fed, it was so easy for him to zone out or disable a lot of members on the side of Epsilos, and even Sintid can't even make it effective. I mean, Sintid is a really good player when it comes to the Kiana, when it comes to his playstyle in the mid lane. But with Ego, that fed, that Camille was just a threat to Sintid that he found a lot of ways to get away first before he found a way to go into two more team fights. And that's why Ego
Mhm.
was so much of a threat to Ipsilos.
Yep, definitely. As we saw, like the moment Sintid could do something, Ipsilos would be winning these fights. But as you said, Ego has been too strong. But now we go back to the drawing board. I feel like Volibear is already out of the question, but
Yep.
the bans will be changed here. We might see a Trundle ban, we might see a Karma ban, we might see a Camille ban. But then, of course, the Anivia being banned away, as you predicted, being first of many.
They really don't want Anivia to come in against them because if Karen gets that, that's gonna be real hard. So with that said, they still have a lot of options. They need to ban the Camille, they need to ban the Trundle because those have been the threats for the team. I mean, Karen was just the icing on top of the cake. He was just helping out everyone during that last fight, but the threat was on Ego, was on Ego Mark, and it's really smart for them to take this because if ever the Shinzao would be the ban and they go for the last ban onto the Camille, they could possibly take the Trundle against the side of Asian Baby.
Not a problem.
Possibly. And of course, the misfortune being banned away. Of course, you don't want to deal with any of that AOE stuff. You don't want to deal with a lot of this early game power that Ipsilos did completely utilize in the bot lane with the Aphelios previously. Even though Aphelios isn't really that good in the early game, they just knew how to play around it. And that's, let's see, like, what more if they had somebody who was really, really good in the early game. And of course, Trundle being banned away here is a sign of both respect and realization that you should never leave that guy open as much as possible.
Yeah, I prefer Winter is a good top lane in itself if he gets a bruiser on his side, because I prefer Winter use a Gwen during the last 2 weeks, and it was so effective. So if they give I prefer Winter the fight that he wants against Ego, that might be the chance for them to shut him down, because Ego is so much of a threat that if ever this Camille comes out again, they can. Oh man, if they get this Camille out again, it's gonna be hard for them to fight in the late game. As what we saw, the precision protocol in the late game against the ADC, shut down.
Mhm. Absolutely. And of course, they go
Oh
immediately
no.
lock in the Thresh. They want something safe. They don't want to show their cards too early yet, but that might be a mistake because we might see the Camille being locked in. We might even see a Gwen being locked in, considering how she bodes well against all the power picks right now, which are Fiora, Camille, Kennen, Irelia. And of course, if you want to play a tank, there's always the Sedge, the Mundo, and
That's good.
even the what he calls. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
they got the
that's
karma
good.
again. But yeah, there's also the Gangplank that's completely available for both of these teams, should they choose to pick it. But right now, let's see what Asian Baby Boys has in mind. They're thinking about the Tristana and pick the Tristana. So immediately, I'm thinking about the puppy being raised here because you already have Kiaran's Karma. You already have the Tristana also available.
Yep. From what I'm seeing here, they don't want the Camille to fight against a Gwen. That's why Asian Baby Boys are not pulling it out yet against them, because Gwen is still a possibility. Maybe they're gonna go in for the second year rotation. If ever Ipsilos goes in for that, Asian Baby Boys could take the Gwen themselves. So, okay, that is very smart for Asian Baby Boys. But on the hands of I prefer Winter, it's still it's still a good Camille pick here.
Absolutely, one of the like I've seen how I prefer Winner would play out. He, if he can dominate the lane, he will. If you give him an inch, he'll take the entire arm. But of course, let's see what they have in store for here. The
Oh,
Aphelios being picked up again. They do have a little more they do have a little more engaged potential in the form of Thresh. Less disengaged considering how Braum was way better at that. But let's see what Asian Baby
ooh.
Boys has.
Okay, they went in for a Fiora on the Ego, so he wants to go with a skill matchup on the top lane. This is what I wanted to see, a skill matchup between I prefer Winter and Ego. So top diff is what I want to see against both of these players. So I'm kind of excited on seeing this. So they're still banning out the mid laners that could be a potential threat. They don't want Camille to get strong, so they're banning. If ever the Galio could get banned, a Silas could also be a possibility. So they really don't want it to happen. But a Silas on the composition of Asian Baby Boys, it won't be that good.
Yep, definitely, and it seems like things are gonna get interesting here, considering everything that is seen and done. The Volibear being banned out, the Asian Baby Boys, little that's a little funny ban there, but at the same time, I feel like they were threatened by the Volibear previously, so they don't want to deal with that early game presence that Volibear committed early on, and they want to get to their late games much faster.
Ooh, they're banning a lot of jungler options, so they're gonna be left with the bits and pieces that we only have now. Right now, we have a Lee Sin. That could be a possibility for Relevances to use to leverage the early game against the side of Ipsilos, or they might want to go for a tank because they don't really have a dedicated frontline on their team composition yet, so they might go for that angle. I think they banned the Volibear just because they don't have a Trundle on their hands. That's why it's kind of scary to fight against a Volibear early.
That is true, and now immediately we do see the Braum being picked up here by Asian Baby Boys, which means there is a lot, like there's a lot of people to protect here. If you want to if you want to make sure that this Tristana is enabled as all hell, Leo Mark is gonna have so much fun with Kiaran and with the Karma and the Braum. I mean, being utilized for him, or maybe the Karma goes well with the Fiora. The Fiora being practically unkillable once you get that Essence Reaver, once you get that Gore Drinker, you're basically legally unkillable, and you don't like once those shields come in. I don't think anything's gonna stop you from going forward. But that being said, I prefer Winter versus Ego is gonna dictate the entire pace of the game from here.
Yeah, I forgot to point this out. LeBlanc is a really strong pick right now. She's the top pick mid laner on the solo queue. So it's gonna be, oh, that's what I want to see. Getting an Ivern on the side of Ipsilos. They want to use utility shielding. We got that also. So we're gonna pull out the Ivern against Asian Baby Boy. So they have damage, yes. So with that, even without a dedicated frontline on their side, they have the Thresh, but that's not much of a frontline. They have the shielding also, so they can have the staying power that Asian Baby Boys had during the past game. So this is all skill matchup. We're just gonna be, it's almost basically the same composition on both of the teams. With Lee Sin on the last part, it's gonna be easier for him to get ganks against an Ivern because he has more battle stats against him.
Definitely, and it seems like Asian Baby Boys once again wants to scrap it out as early as possible here. They once, and I did say before, supports always have a like support mages will have a better time against assassins, but LeBlanc's a completely different story. It depends on how well you can time your damage. Karma against LeBlanc is much harder than say Karma versus Lulu. Karma versus Lulu is so easy, but then of course Lulu's not relevant anymore, so that's why we see the Karma being utilized here. LeBlanc versus Lulu, I mean, but Karma on the other hand does not have as much disables to stop the LeBlanc from doing whatever she wants in lane. We might see Scented actually like utilize as much a snowball out of control if they don't keep him in track. But of course, Kiaran on the Karma knows his own limits. We might see how he can deal with the LeBlanc by himself. But aside from that, it is going to be an exciting matchup here.
Oh yeah, very very exciting. Sintid having this LeBlanc. Sintid is a really kinda the star player of that side of Epsilos, and if he ever gets the leverage against Karen, that he has the early game advantage against him, we all know how this LeBlanc could snowball into destruction for Asian Baby Boys. So what Asian Baby Boys wants to do here is just to baby out this bot lane. I mean, both of them, they want to just let this ADCs get the advantage early. I mean, later on in the game, and they just want them to scale up before they go in for big fights. Because Ivern even doesn't have much battle stats. That is basically it's the mid laner and the jungler on both of their sides. If you switch them up, it's basically the same composition.
And it seems like it's gonna be really, really it seems like it's gonna be one of those matches where you really feel like it can be dictated by either jungler. We are gonna see how relevances can like we are gonna see how relevances deals with how Lee Sin plays because with Trundle it's such a completely different play style. You like to go for the power farming. You like to go for these you like to go for like small skirmishes and just go all the way in. With Lee Sin, it's a completely different story simply because of how you have to know your own limits, weave in and out, weave in and out. You are like water. Be water, my friend, to quote
Oh
Bruce
yeah.
Lee. And that is exactly what we're gonna see here with relevances.
I'm kind of expecting relevances to just get the advantage early on against an Ivern. I mean, Ivern has holds. He needs his teammates to do the damage for him before he gets a gank really effectively on their side. So Asian Baby Boy with relevances, he has so much damage as a Lee Sin. Just go in for the resonating strike every time. And also the Dragon's Rage is a pretty big threat whenever someone goes in on the side of Ipsilos. Yes, they have the Hextech ultimatum, but if the Dragon's Rage is there, oh man, you're just gonna be pushed back. And also, I would like to point out, Leomark also has one.
Mhm.
He has the ulti also with the Buster Charge that could push them back if ever Asian Baby Boys wants to get away with a fight.
Definitely, like they have a lot of disengage there. Let's not forget the glacial fissure is always a good way to stop anyone in their tracks, slow them down, like knock them up, slow them down, basically make everyone back off. And that being said, it is going to be a little tricky for Ipsilos to try to weave themselves in here with the Karma and the Braum involved. But if there's anything that could happen, it's going to be Whiff who's going to have to dictate the pace here for Ipsilos with how much he can, with how much picks he can possibly do in the form of the Thresh.
Yeah, if ever the Trash gets the death sentences that they need during the fights, especially when Unbreakable is up for the Brom, just take out the Brom if you want to. That could be enough for them to back away from the fight because at least you don't have the concussive blows to deal with whenever you go in. That is really a big threat, man. Whenever a concussive blows is on one person, it's really gonna become a big threat if you go if you try to go in against them. So that's what the Braum gives for this time team composition. So they need to be careful on committing onto fights on the side of Ipsilos. It's a possibility. They have a lot of damage. They have a late game potential on their team composition. So Ipsilos just needs to use that in their favor.
Definitely. And like, of course, that being said, they also have to have the mental reset possible for themselves because of the fact that Asian Baby Boys is working off the momentum. Let's not forget, game one already belonged to them, and immediately they need to find a way to stop the bleeding because Ipsilos is still such a capable team, giving Asian Baby Boys a run for their money. And even with the domination at the start, like at the start of game one, we don't know what's going to happen here in game two with a much cleaner draft. I'd like to say I think this is a much better draft in the grand scheme of things. You don't for Ipsilos, it's more 50-50 against Asian Baby Boys rather than the previous one where there was a big weak point in the form of a volley bear getting his resistances stolen from him by the Trundle.
Yeah, and with that, we can see on equal grounds, we can see who is the better team against Asian Baby Boys and Ipsilos. With Asian Baby Boys be able to hold on to their crown, being the kings of the Metro, and now gonna be the kings of the NCO Season 3 if ever they win the grand finals later on. So they're really holding on to that crown. So with Ipsilos being a dark horse, they need to, as you said, they need to hit the books and do what they can against Asian Babies. I mean, it's still possible. They could put a cap on the supposed DLSU dynasty that Asian Baby Boys are building.
And it seems like there might be the last hope before the grand finals because by the moment the grand finals happens, it becomes such a massive bloodbath that I personally think that once again, because of the champions advantage, Asian Baby Boys might have the bigger advantage once they reach the grand finals. But while they're still in the semis, you gotta get them while their eyes are still on the grand final. So Ipsilos right now has one of the best opportunities out there, and both teams already thinking about a massive invade here.
Yep, a really good invade on the side of Asian Baby Boys. They want to go for a very cheeky play, but it's kind of interesting that we're seeing both of them doing it from Graphic Game. We don't usually see this, but man, they want to go for the aggressive route. They're gonna go to the bot lane, and if ever someone missteps, that's gonna be a kill. So it's just unfortunate that they're on the opposite sides.
Yep, they were thinking the exact same thing. That's
Yeah.
the problem here. Like they were thinking the exact same thing, and that was absolutely unfortunate. They're going for this. They're going for these invades simply because of the fact that they want to disrupt the Ivern.
Yep.
The Ivern's jungling, it gets absolutely stopped in its tracks if you even disrupt even one single buff from them, or stop him from getting the monsters that he put his plants around, he put his passive around. So right now, Rian does get a good jump here with the red buff, but a defensive ward here on the
Oh
side
no.
of Asian Baby Boys could change the name of the game here, and he
You were
spots
able
him.
to see it.
So that's
Oh.
a sign.
Yeah, that would be a sign for Relevances to go in for the next buff, and most likely Leomork and Osagi would be there to help. Even though if they lose, at least their jungler doesn't get out of phase. That's what they want. If Relevances gets out of phase here, that could be Rian just getting the advantage against him, because if he has more buffs, it's gonna be hard for Asian Babies. I mean, it's gonna be hard. It'll take time for Rian to take the red buff anyway, so most likely Relevances will be able to take it.
And it seems like instead of vertical jungling, Rian has decided to go
Oh.
immediately to his own red buff rather than go for the vertical. Really good call here, considering the fact that Relevances decides to go for the full clear instead of his own jungle, because he's already given up on his own red buff and he doesn't really have the priority here in mid lane to
Yeah.
get his mid and bot lane to go to the red side. But just as I say that, there might be wards, there might be a chance for him to decide to do so.
Yeah, he was expecting it anyway on Relevance's side. But with that said, they know this is a possibility still for Relevances to go in for the jungle. And if he would be able to take this, Rubiker and Whiff has the better positioning here, so they can rotate really fast if ever Relevances comes in. They're waiting for Whiff to get to level 2 before they go in. So this is really smart for Leo Marco Osagi. They're pushing them back so that Relevances could just get this buff without any contest, and now he gets it. Very, very smart for Asian Baby Boys to play that bot aggressively.
Yep, definitely. The awareness for their team. This is something that Asian Baby Boys has been doing for so much, since the first game actually. Every time they want to get to an objective, they inform each and every single one of their teammates, and it's so well done how they do it as they moved around the map like a single unit.
And definitely, that is the play style of Asian Baby Boys. What I like about Asian Baby Boys is they go for it all throughout the game. They're that consistent whenever it comes in. They have some times that they go full aggressive, but they still turn around in the end. And Relevance is trying to get some ganks in the mid lane, showing his presence to at least get some space for his mid laner. Yaren will just use this to clear up some waves in the mid lane. So now with our junglers just being very conservative right now, not really going for ganks, and the bot lane might be a possibility just because relevance is already on this side, so it could be a chance for them to get the first kill of the game.
Definitely, and seems like Asian Baby Boys right now looking for their own targets. Kiaran getting a little bit of damage there doesn't really mean much, simply because of the fact that that is a karma. After all, you can survive for as long as you can, as long as you don't take any unnecessary damage. But of course, the counter jungling here from Rian, he does know that the Lee Sin was last seen in red side, bot side, I mean. So he does try to take away the Raptors and successfully gets it. It would mean that Ipsilos is going for more aggressive jungling at this point. They do have a lot of a priority here in top lane with how I Prefer Winter has built up an entire wave.
That's very smart for Ipsilos to go for this, because we haven't we pointed it out a while ago that Relevances is a big contributor to the wins of Asian Baby Boys a while ago. With Relevances slowing it down, the pace has been taken over by the side of Ipsilos. Relevances won't be that relevant early on in this game, but look at that. Ubica going in with the slow coming in. 4-5 members are all here in the bot lane and might be able to get one, maybe two. They went in for the hook shot. Leomark is the target. The Soggy might be next, and he would also fall down. A first blood. They get a 2-0 in the side of Ipsilos.
They commit the entire barangay plus the family tree into this guy, just so they can get this dragon. My goodness, I was wondering why flash, but it was because of the gravitum and just going straight for it. That almost didn't make sense, but it did, and it really paid off. It gives them a dragon. Ipsilos gets a dragon out of it. They get the Windrake. They get a lot of advantage. They get 2 kills out of it too. So that gives them a lot of early game relevance here in the form of a LeBlanc getting a kill, which is a Dark Seal, 3 Dark Seal stacks, and an entire mana crystal.
Yep, Ipsilos with that aggressive play. I wasn't expecting it to happen. Everyone just going for it. They know Ipsilos, even I Prefer Winter has the advantage in the top lane a while ago. He has the position fine before he went in for that TP. And now with that, Leomark and Usagi needs to be careful, because that could happen again on the next 5 minutes after the teleport comes in. So now they could at least play more aggressive, but they know they don't have any objective in the bot lane anyway. So they could just stay this out, just farm out, just let the jungler do their job, and just let the advantage. I think Relevances needs to put their resources onto mid and top. Because for sure, self-sustaining naman tong bot lane, Leomark and Usagi could just tough it out in the bot lane.
Mhm. And they have a lot of disengage. The rocket jump, the unbreakable, the concussive blows, giving them a lot. But now they're taking the scuttle, trying to deny it from the Ivern as much as they can, because this Ivern, the moment he starts building his items, it makes him more relevant, gives him more capabilities of shielding his teammates, gives him more capabilities of planting these bushes, denying a lot of vision in the form of the bushes, and just getting a chance to summon Daisy as soon as possible. Always a good idea. That's why Asian Baby Boys is fully aware of the movements here and keeping themselves kosher. And as you said, this might be a gank towards top lane.
Yep, they want to go and gank on the top lane just because. But look at this. After losing a lot of waves, or should I say camps on the side of Relevances, now he's on the advantage. Now he has 3 camps in advance against Ipsilos. So now Rian needs to be careful, because Relevances has the Dragon's Rage. It could be easy for Relevances to go in for ganks, counter ganks against him. He just used the early game just to slow down the pace of Relevances. But now Relevances could just take this Direct Herald without any contest from an Ivern, that is.
And good stuff there from Kiaran, just making sure that there is no LeBlanc being cheeky out there, getting that good catch. But they see the Ivern, they're probably going to corner him. put him in a sandwich him up. But as I say that, they do get away with it. There's a blue Buffalo Blanc, so they don't want to engage on it a little too much. Tethers being thrown out. My goodness, like just saying, you have a tether, I have two.
And it's still really interesting to me that Karen also has this karma again in his hands, and we saw how effective it is during the fights, and he's just gonna beat out this chunky boys that we said Relevances and Ego could have a good time whenever a fight happens out. And if the Rip Herald has already been taken on their side, they might be able to take some towers on them. They might be able to take down top, or might be taking some plates with them just with this Rep Herald or oh, they're gonna go for this for sure because they have 3 members against I Prefer Winter. He has the insect ultimatum, yes, but Ego is also here. The Dragon Strain is already there. Would that be enough for him to survive this fight? Oh no, they overstepped their welcome, and Ego would just get 1 kill, a trade for 1, but that's not really that good. Still, they could be able to take this. Karen is also here. He has the damage. Ego is also here. They have some more, and that's a shutdown coming in from the side of Asian Baby Boys. At least they take some against them with some plates on top of it.
This is gonna be big. Aside from like getting 2 kills, the plates, as you said, and the first turret. Let's not forget the bonus that you get from that. Massive 700 gold going straight to a Fiora. And a Fiora split pushing with 700 gold. Well, have fun, buddy.
Yeah, especially in the top lane now. That top lane, it's gonna be hard for Winter to go forward just because Relevances might be lurking around the bushes and he can go pounce at them. So now, Winter would just be, it's basically a dead lane in the top lane. They need to at least find a way to give signs of life for Winter to farm it out on the top side. They need to take down that tower before Winter could go in, try to farm it out. So now, with that said, 40 seconds on the Infernal Drake. Most likely both of these teams would love that. Everyone loves the Infernal Drake. Who doesn't want free stats? And we're still waiting for it to come out.
It's definitely 30 seconds left on the clock here. This is why also that Ipsilos chooses not to swap their lanes yet. They're leaving their top lane and top simply because of the fact that there is going to be Dragon in a while. So I feel like because Kiaran has TP, he's going to stay in top, but I prefer Winter should start moving at this point towards the Dragon because Asian Baby Boys is looking at it and they're looking at it like a snack.
And they're looking for this 5 seconds. And now Ipsilos has the advantage when it comes to the positioning onto this next Drake that's coming in. And most of the members, they switch out members. They went in with Karen onto the top side just because Karen right now has the TP. So they went in with Ego in the mid lane just for them to get their rotation really fast. So they are not starting it on the side of Ipsilos because Rian wouldn't be able to start it. They need someone to do the damage before they go in for it. Without Winter to go for it, Sintid might be on a really dangerous waters here. Sintid is just going in for it. Ego now super low in HP. With the Gold Drinker, not enough to actually heal him out. Now, with the low HP Ego, it's a possibility for Ipsilos to go in for this fight, but Relevance since the TPs are coming in to their side, they're going in for it, and it's not looking good for the side right there. Relevance goes in with it. That sentence would be able to hit, but it was a force splash for Relevance. Now they're going in at the ones. Really aggressive for Rubik to go in with the flash in. Now Ego is just here, just wreaking havoc in front lines. And now most of them are falling down. But Winter, look at this. He might be able to get 1 kill, but never mind that the root is there. And the Dragon's Rage is there also to help them out. Look at this. Low HP members inside of Asian Baby Boys, but they still want to get some more. They're looking for snacks, but they're now looking at the Infernal Drake that is going to be in their side.
I thought that was going to be bad simply because of the fact that the Glacial Fissure missed. There was a free hook coming out. And aside from that, nobody was really being harmed aside from Relevance. And Relevance out of nowhere managed to get back into the fight simply because of how well Kiaran times these shields. They also leave Leomark alone, completely free hitting all day, every day.
Yeah, and also Rubiker flashed in. He thought he would be able to get some kills just because most of the members of Asian Baby Boys were already low in HP. So that's the reason why they lost. They lost a bit of a chunk of their damage. And that is just Asian Baby Boys just roaming around, waiting for someone to misstep, to go for a misstep. And that's where they capitalize.
Really good capitalization here from Asian Baby Boys. They get the dragon. They're probably gonna push towards mid lane. There is one plating left in it. Still 13 minutes left. There's still 1 more minute left before the plating disappears. So they're gonna have to look for a way to get that. But I don't think they really care considering the fact that they already have so much gold from the last fight. Seems like they're just gonna put this out of their misery, out of general principle rather than desire for gold here. And on the other hand, they do give Ego the bot lane here, leaving them for, how do I describe it? Giving him a lot of open space all the way for himself, which means that we're probably gonna see him start split pushing from here on out.
Whew, this is just what you don't want to see. Ego having the advantage with just really, I mean, as you said, a split pushing monster that nobody could 1v1. Even I prefer Winter would be having a hard time getting a 1v1 against Ego at this point. Man, Ego is always picking these champions that could go 1v1, could go for a split push every time. So that whenever someone goes in for him, he could just 1v1 them, go for a split push, be a big threat around the map. They need to put resources in so that his team could capitalize on the resource that are really invested on him. So Ego, man, this man is a monster.
Absolute monster. And of course, aside from that, he's not building up that much of a CS lead. In fact, none of them are building up a CS lead except Relevance right here. But that's simply because of the nature of Ivor, and he wants to go in and support rather than get as much clear as possible, get as much minions as possible. But on the other hand, like, it also means that this game has been stupidly equal for the past how many how many minutes. But it's so far so good for Asian Baby Boys, because they do have a 2k gold lead in the form of those kills and the dragon and that Rift Herald and first turret. But let's see how Ego can deal with how Ego is gonna deal with this version of split push in the form of the Fiora.
Yeah, I really want to see how these fights are going to come down. Without the presence of Ego, if they go for a fight here, they have a DP, yes, but they have a lot of vision on the side of Ipsilos if they go for a fight here. So it's really, they're really afraid of what's going on. Just as you said, it's the nature of an Ivor to not go for dives, not go for steals, just because he just wants to support his teammates.
It really is. It really is ingrained into his blood, into his sap. I mean, and as that comes in, seems like Asian Baby Boys is content to not really fighting that much. They do have a Tristana, which is a late game investment beyond late game investments, and the Fiora does have a lot of relevance in the late game too, simply because of the fact that you can basically duel literally everyone. But just as I say that, it seems like they're gonna go for this tower dive here.
Oh no, Rian is now the target. Not a good one at that, and he's gonna fall down pretty easily. A teleport is coming in. This is not what you want. Ego is here on top of Sinteed. He's just running away. He's trying to bait them out. That is a good distortion, honestly, on the side of Ipsilos. But Asian Baby Boys would be able to take one against Ipsilos.
Let's see what they're gonna do here, considering the fact that they did commit four whole people into bot lane here for PUP. So DLSU, Asian Baby Boys, is gonna commit to leaving the Tristana here in mid lane, trying to melt down that tower with the explosive charge, and we might see more of the map being opened here as mid lane. The moment mid lane gets down, they have more space to ward things around in. They have more ways to get info, because there's no more tower. But as I say that, 30 seconds left. It's gonna be the dragon that's gonna be the next objective in their eyes.
It's still a possibility for Asian. The mindset there of Asian Baby Boys was that they want to open up bot lane, so that if they go for the bot lane, for the objective 1 minute after, they have at least pressure onto the bot side. Without the tower there, it's gonna be hard for them on the side of Ipsilos to go for a rotation. So Asian Baby Boys was leveraging that fact. But now they're going in for Death Rush right here, and I prefer Winter might be the target. And this is just the stop, just with Rian going in for that hold, and Baby Boys are just finding more ways to go for this. And Usagi, right there, what was that? Sinteed went in with a distortion just to push him back. They really want to get this bottom tower down, just for Asian Baby Boys to have a way with the tower, have a way with that next objective, the Mountain Drake. They're really forcing this fight onto the bot side. Ego and Kieran might be the target. The holds are coming in, but Ego was there with the parry. 5v2. Ego and Kieran against the world, but here comes the break. Here comes the team to go for the fight. Ego goes in, and now here comes the team. The Glacial Fisher just forces them back away, and now even though they lost one member, they're all low HP, and this is a chance for Ego to wreak havoc. Clear mark, look at that man. Rocket jumping his way. Rian hits the next target. Nobody to shield but himself, and Relevances is going in with the Resonating Strike.
Never mind.
And that is the Mountain Drake in the eyes of Asian Baby Boys with an ace on top of it.
I thought Ipsilos was gonna have a good chance there because they took out Karma as soon as possible. Kiaran was in no business to be there, but instead they did. Their targets were scattered to begin with. They were having such a hard time choosing who to fight, and that meant Asian Baby Boys can capitalize on it with a cleanup crew in the form of a Lee Sin, a Fiora, and a Tristana. Ego, Relevances, and Leomark had the time of their lives even when Kiaran was taken out.
Oh, what was that? I mean, they lost one member at the early stages of that fight, but they were still able to win at the end because they didn't lose the damage. They only lost one, and Leomark and Ego was still alive and kicking. And the sustain that they have, that was so much. So now with this said, I thought that was a really long game at this point. Honestly, I was expecting this game to be at 26 minutes already because of the fights that are happening. It's really high-level fights that we're seeing from Asian Baby Boys and Ipsilos. Still, a possibility for Ipsilos to come back from this, honestly, and they just need to hold off.
Yep, definitely. They really just need to, because once again, they do have the Camille, they do have the Aphelios. All they have to do is hold on for as much as possible, get to the point where their late game doesn't really matter, and it's just how well you can fight it out. But that being said, that's such a tall order to deal with. We don't want to, like, as much as possible. The Asian Baby Boys is going to prevent that from happening. Kiaran right now doesn't have TP, but he wants to push this lane, wants to get as much priority as possible for the upcoming Baron that is coming up in 10 seconds. So they can put some wards around it, they can put some vision around it, and possibly even take it. Should the rest of Ipsilos show up in a bad position?
Oh man, Ego is just bodying everyone, as it said, they're gonna put a lot of resources onto Ego, and they're gonna lose just because of it. The hookshot might be a possibility. Syntheed is the next target. They're using a lot of flashes just for them to get the kill onto Ego. They might be. Oh no, they're over chasing Ego. This is just so much. Oh, what a dodge from Ego! Now it could be a chance for him to survive, but still 1 HP. Ego is still alive. How is that possible? They use a lot of flashes, and top lane might fall down just because of that. And wow, that is just Ego, man. Too good to be true. Was able to get away.
Are you kidding me? That final juke? Did you see the final juke? That was ridiculous. I cannot believe anyone could ever do that. This man was possessed by the spirit of Allen Iverson. I cannot believe he just did that. And the Gore Drinker too, saving the day there, leaving him at 1 HP immediately after because of that extra HP he got from the duel and the Gore Drinker.
Oh man,
I'm so bad right now.
I wasn't expecting it to happen like that. Honestly, Ego was that was 1 HP. Then I prefer Winter thought that it's gonna be dead already. That's why they backed away. But with Ego, man, this man is just so much. With a lot of flashes down, with a lot of ultimates down a while ago, that could have been a chance for Asian Baby Boys to take the Baron. But instead, they forced the push on top lane and mid lane, which is really good also to put more pressure against Ipsilos.
It is paying off so well. Like, they're committing so much onto Ego every single time at this point. Simply because of the Fiora split push, always a big threat. They don't want to deal with that. That Sonic Wave, the moment that, like, if that ever landed, somebody was gonna get kicked all the way back there. But so far, it is gonna be Asian Baby Boys keeping it kosher. They are gonna move towards Baron here, simply because they Ipsilos might be calling for a gank on Ego again.
Whew, I'm really scared on what Ipsilos can do here. They need a miracle to win onto this next fight. They don't have a way to start fights. Yes, they have the Hextech Ultimatum. Yes, they can take down one. But after, what do they have next? They don't have anything next in their bags if they go in for fights. So Asian Baby Boys are just using that fact that after they use all their resources onto one member, they could bounce back. Just because that they really want to go for fights that are really long, really dragged on, and with Karen helping them out, that could be a big possibility.
I just noticed right now that it is a Shirelius being used here by Karen because they want to go. They're ready to go, get the green light, right? Simply because of the fact that if you have the Mantra E and the Shirelius being combined, you have such a speed boost to go for a Stampede. And even with the Tristana, they're so confident. And right now, Syntheed looks like he's looking for some damage, but it's not going to be enough. It's just there to dissuade.
Oh man, oh no, they're really looking for everything that they can. They're waiting for the next objective that's coming in. Mountain Drake is in 15 seconds of the clock, but with the towers down on the side of Ipsilos and nobody nobody contests. I mean, it's really scary to contest this. You don't know what's gonna come through. And Asian baby boys, they use this out of lack of vision on the side of Ipsilos to capitalize on some mistakes that they could do on trying to face check a brush. So with this in mind, Ipsilos are just gonna give this Mountain Drake on the side of Asian baby boys for sure.
Yep, definitely. It seems like it's so, but the next Drake they should not. Absolutely not. Once again, Soul is too much, especially with a LeBlanc on your team. LeBlanc's never gonna burst anyone down once you get the Mountain Soul. So right now, Soul Point is the name of the game here for Asian baby boys. They are gonna move towards Baron once again, trying to make sure that they can get this clean this time.
Yeah, now with that, the Mountain Soul at least adds a bit of layer to the shield that Asian Baby Boys has. Could be a possibility that they go for a Baron. Considering that Tristana right now, Leomorph has 2 items, this could be a pretty easy Baron on their side. But with Rubiker really having a hard time getting those items, later if he gets the second item against this, it could be possible for them to fight back against Asian Baby Boys onto this next one. And they really need to take down some towers, man. Because if they don't, they're just gonna lose a lot of objectives. Because right now, it's Asian Baby Boys' playground.
Like every single tower that's still up means that they can't ward deep at all, simply because of the fact that there is enough vision on these lanes for them to not enter. And that being said, it is going to be Asian baby boys looking for their own control. You talked about map control in the form of the towers. You're right. PUP really need to step up. They need to find a way to clear at least mid lane, because once they clear out mid lane, they have entrances to put deep wards in. They have more ways to get to control the map simply because of the lack of vision after losing a turret. Ipsilos needs to find something like that right now.
Yeah, honestly, now that's the sign. The members of Asian Baby Boys were able to push all of the lanes back, and they have a lot of vision on the top side of the map. So most likely, if someone goes in, if Rian goes at the side of them, it could be a possibility for Asian Baby Boys to turn around onto this fight. It's still possible because they're pushing a lot, and a lot of towers are gonna fall down if they don't defend on the side of Ipsilos, but now they're gonna go for it, and now that is Leomorph just going in with the rocket jump. He got away with it, and now the Death Sentence didn't hit, and they went in for it. The Glacial Fisher is also there to stop them on the tracks, and it's a possibility. And now the side of Ipsilos are just scattering around. Relevance is finding the kill onto Rian. Here comes the concussive blow, and that's the death. 3 members are down, and Baron is on their sides.
Mr. Barun Nashur is gonna be the next target here. Oh my goodness! The awareness of the moment that they saw the concussive blows on Scented, Leomorph just jumped straight in, flashed in, committed, and once again, this is what makes Asian Baby Boy so great. It's the synergy. It's the absolute synergy they have. It's the commitment they have. When somebody makes a call, everyone commits, and they don't back off up until there's the call to back off.
Oh man, that is the Baron on top of it. 11k gold lead just says a lot. 3 items on the carries on the side of Asian Baby Boys. Now we can say that they need a miracle on the side of Ipsilos in order for them to come back from this. It's just whenever Ego comes into play, everyone, even Winter wasn't there during that fight because he's totally pressuring the bot lane. Even if Ego is out of the equation, it's okay because Asian Baby Boys know that they have the resource advantage. That's why they went in for that fight.
And it really paid off for them. Really well done from them. And oh my goodness, it's just crazy what they could do. Crazy with a K even. The way that Asian Baby Boys is doing. And honestly, the way they commit. If you saw that in solo queue, you'd get flamed. But hold that thought.
They went in with Hectic Ultimatum and they want to go for a fight. Razor Fisher was there to at least take down one. Look at that. Leomorph is on the backside. Train takes him down. Cinti, 1 HP. But now he's down for the count. They've lost a bit of damage on the side of Asian Baby Boys, but Ego's still here. Just chasing around everyone. Cinti might be the next target. Here comes Winter with the hook shot, but not enough. Because look at that. He's just trying to cancel them out. So the Concussive Blows is there. I prefer Winter falls down. Double kill on your side.
It's
and Asian Baby Boys. This might be game because the death timers are too deadly. 20 seconds of the clock, and would they end this? Because Asian Baby Boys, I know they would.
Oh my goodness, that's game. I don't think Seated could stop this anymore. This is gonna be the game at this point. 2-0 straight to Asian Baby Boys.
Oh no, Asian Baby Boys just won. That Karen might fall down, but still, again, on the side of Asian Baby Boys, they don't want to end it. They want to back away because they know that someone is already up. 3 people on the side of Ipsilos just went in with the death timers, and now they're backing away, taking the safe route. They still have a Mountain Soul to deal with, and it's a possibility that if they get the Mountain Soul, top lane might be their next target.
Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. They could have ended had they had Leomark, but
Yep.
Leomark had an amazing play in mind, but Ipsilos had other ideas, because honestly that was a good call. I can't say the right call. There's no such thing as a wrong call in that fight, but that was a good call. But in the end, Ipsilos was fully aware of like the attempt of resetting by Leomark there. But if Leomark was alive, that would have been that could have been the end game after. But look at how Asian Baby Boys is engaging immediately.
Oh no, they're really just wanting to get everything that they can. They're pushing all the lanes. They know they have the Baron empowered minions, and they might be able to take this pretty easily. DLSU are just walking their way onto this tower, onto the bot lane, and they're not stopping. Leomark right now is just a beast, so nobody wants to go in front, and now they're going on for the fight, and this is going to be the last one for the side of Ipsilos. This is going to be their last stand. Asian Baby Boys are just ending them out one by one, or falling down. Double kill onto Ego, and they're just looking onto the kills. They're not even looking onto the Nexus. The next target would be Winter, and he's going to be backing away from that. Since it falls down, Leomark is just dealing so much damage, and that's Asian Baby Boys are still the Kings. Champions still won't fall. Gods won't bleed because we have one here. Asian Baby Boys going into the grand finals.
And that is how you go and dominate. Show people why you were the champions of the Metro before. Show people why you were one of the teams to beat now. Asian
man.
Baby Boys showing why they were champions, showing why they're considered dominant, showing they're absolutely synergistic. They know what to do. They know what to do, and they know how to do it, and they know when to do it. It's every single time that they make a call, everyone's so committed. Everyone's always going straight into a fight, and when the fight breaks out, it's always in their favor simply because of how committed they are.
Yeah, I love the timing that they always get whenever they go for these objectives, and I can't stress it enough. It's just Relevance's and Karen's rotation just benefits the laners, the top lane and the bot lane. They're getting benefits from Relevance's and Karen just because they know how to rotate every time the objectives, even though that they're on a losing matchup. I mean, Karen with the karma always making it work against matchups that are really hard to deal with. Still, right now, Karen is really strong, relevant. I mean, Asian Baby Boys as a team is that good.
Mhm. They individually they are amazing, but they are greater than the sum of their parts. Asian Baby Boys proceeds to the grand finals after this. As we see the bracket, it is going to be El Clasico right here with
Hey,
LaSalle versus Admu versus Ateneo de Manila. This is gonna be an amazing, amazing grand finals, and I'm pretty sure every single fan of both of these teams, they're gonna get real rabid.
Yeah, I just like that Ipsilos being the dark horse of this playoffs. They, even though that they didn't won the war, they won the hearts of the people from Polytechnic University of the Philippines. And now with that, at least we know there's a contender for Ipsilos on the next NCO. So now with
Mhm.
this, before we go in for that, we're just gonna be play the backdoor clip a while ago. We didn't see it, right? So we're just gonna take a look at how that happened, because that was a really interesting play. So let's look at how it's gonna happen.
Okay, let's see how Snake does it. Because my prediction was it was a charge. No, he didn't get the rocket jump. He just walked up.
What? Oh man, what is that?
He had GA. He had GA.
Oh no! That's the reason why. Snake, what a monster you are. He knows he has the Guardian Angel. He knows it's the late game, and he's gonna take that tower down really fast. And he just went in for it. What a crazy man.
That I would have been tilted till like the next season. Like seeing that, like that would haunt me in my dreams. But good God, the great awareness there from Snake. A lot of people would have put question marks on that, but he was aware of the window he had. And congratulations to him because he advances to the finals along with the rest of LG Hydra, going straight against Asian Baby Boys, who just won this set against Ipsilos from Polytechnic University of the Philippines. These, once again, guys, the fans of these teams, people from La Salle and people from Ateneo, it's gonna be rabid because this
Yeah.
is El Clasico in the making.
Yeah, I love it. I love this. This is brewing for the NCO season 3 that Lasal and Adbu are again fighting it out onto the champions for NCO season 3. So yes, it was really a good day. Honestly, we have seen a lot of good plays from both of our teams. We I really can't say that it was a stomp. Even though that it was a 2-0, it was hard fought matches for
Mhm.
the DLSU Asian Baby Boys and even LG Hydra during that last match. And yes, it shows a lot of promise from these players that they can fight with everyone. They have the possibility of being champions also onto the next seasons of NCO. But before we go in and wrap up these games, the National Campus Open wouldn't be a thing without our amazing sponsors and partners. UAC 2021 is powered by Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor, and Logitech G, our official gaming gear partner. Also, shout out to our partners at Logitech G. If you're looking to supercharge your gaming setup, so you can hashtag keep playing, check out Logitech's amazing gaming gear at logitech.acadarena.com. Now, any last words, young Rafiki?
I'm just really excited for the grand finals. I'm staying tuned for that. Guys, every single time, like this is gonna be the best possible League of Legends that you are gonna see in the collegiate level. I've always been such a fan of how Asian Baby Boys played, and I've become a fan of how LG Hydra has played, with how they have this never give up attitude, and they always go for these small windows that always make them succeed. And that is what makes League of Legends so fun. Seeing teams like these, like, just absolutely show us what beautiful League of Legends is. So next week, let's stay tuned.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and yeah,
go ahead.
next week. Sorry about that. But before we go in for that last one again, guys, we have been your shoutcasters for today. But before we go for that, hit the wall with the AcadArena on TikTok. Make sure to follow at AcadArena, and if you are part of our first 1,000 followers, you'll get the chance to win some of our weekly giveaways. Post or tweet with the hashtag AA TikTok giveaway to make your entry count. And that's the last for us. We have been your shoutcasters for today. That was a really fun semifinal. See you guys next week for the grand finals of NCO Season 3. Again, we have been Dash and Young Rafiki. See you guys on the next one.